In today's video, we're going to be taking a first look at the HiStar Aurora Air. Okay, so the HiStar Aurora Air, the 115 gram reel that is super hot right now, primarily with the cost. It is mega cheap. It's around about 50 Australian dollars. So it's flirting with the ultra budget range and is probably just about surpassed the Solo King Acura right now as the king of that kind of price point. Now this reel came out, I would say December last year, something like that. The Pure Lure Silver Feather came out just before the 11/11 sale back in November, and obviously that was a 119 gram reel that everybody was really excited about, and this reel came in shortly after at 115 grams and really shook things up. And then there was a bunch of reels around that time that was sort of competing with the lightest reel on the market. Now I did hear some positive stuff and some negative stuff about this reel, and at its original price point it kind of put me off with the negative stuff I heard. But then as time moved on, I was thinking, hey, I think all of the positive stuff is kind of outweighing the negative stuff that I'm hearing about this reel, so I got to give it a try for myself. I'm not going to recommend it to someone purely based on what other people say. I got to try it for myself and have faith that my recommendations are honest and truthful. But yeah, if we want to have a quick look at the reel, it's gunmetal with a bunch of black, some gold accents. It's got these TPE style handle knobs, very fairly thin carbon fiber handle here. It's got a 27mm spool, and yeah, it's super light. All right, let's have a look at a few things that I noticed when I first got it out of the box. Now, first thing I notice with these knobs, there's a fair bit of play. They're pretty badly shimmed. Not a big issue, but that's something to consider. In and out movement here, not the smallest I've ever seen, but not the worst I've ever seen. Probably acceptable. Maybe at the original price point these would be quite off-putting things, but at this current price point it's not really an issue. The two main issues though with the reel, okay, the line lay. Now the BFS fishing channel, Peter, he showed me that his reel, the line guide, you can see it there. See, it stops in a pretty good position there, and right there it's in a pretty good position. His line guide would go way over to one side and he'd get a lot of build up on the one side of the spool, which is not very good, but that was fixed by, I guess you could say, reshimming the worm shaft. There's I think there's a washer on each side of it, and he took one off one side and put it on the other side, and that fixed that issue for the most part. But this one doesn't seem to have that issue. It seems to be lining up quite well, so that's good. We don't have that issue. But a big issue I noticed when I first got it was this star drag. Now originally it only had about 1 inch of play, or 1 inch of movement, articulation, whatever you want to say. So say we've got this star top part here in the 12 o'clock position, it would probably move to barely past the 2 o'clock position to say, well, it's already tightened, say from here to here, maybe not even that. But I did take the washers out and reconfigured them. I'm going to open it up and show you, but I've had to play around with it and it was a very easy fix, and we've got it fully tightened there. And if we go back the other way, Well, it's not the easiest to move. Okay, it's freed up a bit there. But you can see it's got an acceptable amount of movement there. I'll open it up and show you what I mean, just in case you have this problem with your reel. Right, so out of the box, what I noticed was that there's 2 washers in the middle there. There's actually 4 washers in total. There's a flat, 2 bent ones, and then another flat one. The 2 bent ones, they were facing each other, like you can see here. But the idea of those is they should be opposing each other, so that, you know, they put resistance on this to stop that from loosening off. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna switch them around, make them oppose each other, put it back, and see how that goes. And then that kind of forced this out a little bit too much, I thought, and it was still kind of tight. So what I did was, you can back that off. The spring, as you could see, sits within this. You can see one side is flat and the other side has a bit cut out there so that the spring sits inside that. We got a flat washer on top here, and then we got the 2 bent washers, and then there's one more flat washer just over the bearing. Alright, so what I might do now, I might try and put all of the washers back, but I'm going to try and oppose the 2 bent washers, and we'll see what happens. Just make sure that's nice and tight, nice and finger tight. So now we'll put the spring on. Seems to be symmetrical, so I don't think it matters either way which way you put it on. Put the star, drag star back on. Keep some tension on there. Handle on. I thought this was a washer at first, but no, that's not a washer. Well, it's a built-in washer, I guess you could say, but I haven't had a reel like that before. Keep some tension on there. All right, now that's all tightened. Let's just see what the star is doing. Okay, not moving there at all. All right. Seems to be back to an acceptable amount. I think that's what the original problem was. I mean, it's definitely not easy to turn this, which could be, you know, a good thing for some people, but, you know, it's a little bit on the tight side, but at least it's nowhere near as tight as it was originally. So I suspect out of the box, that black nut that houses the spring, it just wasn't tight enough. And because these handles aren't shimmed so well and don't particularly love the look of them, I'm going to switch them up to this other one and show you what they look like at the end. All right, so we got our new knobs on now, looking pretty good. I couldn't put the original gold piece on here because this handle is a little bit different in terms of the position of this, so I had to put the original Black Knight 2 one on, but I think it will still match up very, very nicely. So I won't go into too much detail about specifics on the reel because that's already been done before, but just to give you a quick once over, seems to be got it on 0 brakes, free spool's okay, handle feels, you know, passably smooth, not buttery smooth, but good enough. The spool tension knob doesn't click, which is good to me. It's makes for sort of like more precise kind of movement. Definitely not loose or anything, so definitely can be, you know, very precisely adjusted. Responsiveness there, totally fine. Clicking star drag, of course, a little bit on the tight side. Now, even though I have a lot more sort of like movement in this Dragstar, it's still a little bit stiff. And what I have noticed is that it's totally locked there. If I back the drag off fully to there, there's still quite a bit of drag. So I think I'm gonna have to remove one of those flat washers. Okay, so I think I've definitely found the solution. I've got one flat washer, one bent washer, then another flat washer. And as you can see here, so I've got the drag tightened there. It's pretty much locked, fair bit of drag pressure there. This has all of a sudden become quite easy to move. Beautiful, all the way down there. So I'm expecting virtually no drag pressure here. Very, very light drag pressure there. I think it's absolutely spot on now. A lot of adjustment there. Beautiful. Perfect, it's absolutely perfect now. But in terms of the drag sound, really good drag sound actually. If you like a clicking drag, I think this is probably the best sounding clicking drag. There's a lot of clicks, I guess. There's like not a lot of room in between each click, and it's quite nice and audible. I really like that. In terms of the brakes are a bit of a unique thing on this reel. There's actually, well, unique for me, because there's actually an internal and an external dial. Clicking external dial right here. It's pretty ergonomical, not the easiest thing to move, but you don't want it to be too easy. So I'd say that's pretty good, pretty much spot on. If we take a look inside, pop that down, pull this out, expose the spool. Very lightweight spool, very heavily greased, but I'm just going to leave that for the time being. But if we take a look at this, now this is unique for me. Sure, there's other reels that have similar type of internal dials. Definitely there is other ones, but I don't have any experience with them. But from what I'm being told from very credible sources, they're all saying to keep it on the 3 position internally. Now, if you have it on the 3 position, there's actually 3 magnets there. 1, 2, 3. 3 makes them all static. And if you move it to 2, I believe that releases one of them from being static. So you actually adjust it by gripping this sort of outside ring here. Seems a little bit odd how the inside of it kind of moves, but maybe that's by design. But for now, I'm just going to keep it on that 3 setting, keep them all static, and just adjust the external dial as needed. Now, I'm definitely a guy that is a fan of aesthetics and whether or not the reel and the rod match each other looks wise. And I actually have had this Lewistar Sigma for quite a while, and you can see the blank. It's got this blue and purple kind of blank, and actually the Pure Lure Creek Dance has that same blank, and they're very similar rods in fact. But I purchased these knobs a while back when I had the Sigma, and they seem to be exactly the same color as the blank there. And it just happens so that the Aurora Air, with its gunmetal and gold accents, as you can see, they match the Creek Dance in particular very, very nicely. Okay, there it is, the reel. It's on the Creek Dance. Pretty stunning looking combo, I think, personally. This might, you know, this might be my favorite and most used combo in a couple of months' time. Like, it just looks so good. One thing I noticed when replacing these stock knobs is that this screw is actually a Torx style screw. And I just wanted to mention that I got this set also from AliExpress some time ago. It's a double-sided set, got a bunch of different small bits here, super handy to have, and I can highly recommend that. Yeah, I'll leave a link to this and some other even cheaper kind of smaller options with less bits in the description below, but I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, this also has just bushings, and it's got a red bushing on the bottom, which is a little bit different. Okay, the last thing I want to do before I wrap this video up, just show you a little bit of a side profile and size comparison between the Silver Feather and the Aurora Air. Seem to be very similar in size, but the most important thing I want to talk about is the line lay. It doesn't look perfect to me. Definitely a lot more built up in the center, but it's definitely better than it being built up on one side. So I think the line lay issue on this is not really an issue. Alright guys, if you liked the video, please drop a comment and a like. Tell me what you think about this reel. Are you going to buy one? Has the new low price got you really wanting to get one? Has that been the difference between you getting one and not getting one? I reckon definitely. I think if this reel performs well, I'd actually consider getting a second one. It's that cheap. Anyway guys, as always, appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you next time.